What's up everybody and welcome back to our channel here at 360 Player. In this video, we're going to go over a Bayern Munich technical challenge session that we found from watching Bayern Munich training videos on YouTube, and we just added this session to the 360 Player app. If you haven't tried 360 Player yet, you can always try 360 Player for free, and if you weren't aware, we've got tons of pre-made drills and sessions in there. And then as a coach, you of course have the ability to modify these sessions, add your own content, mix and match in your own personalized training library. But without further ado, let's get into this session. This session can be great if you have around 16 to 20 players at your training session. That'll be the perfect number because you want to have 4 teams is the ideal. It doesn't have to be this way, but when you're doing different exercises and you want the teams to be competing against each other, 4 is a really ideal number. Now throughout this session, the players are going to be working on some basic skills like dribbling, passing, shooting, and then some small-sided game work at the end. But before we jump into that, it's important that the players get properly warmed up to prepare the body and mind and help prevent injuries. Just like most professional teams, Bayern Munich usually starts their training sessions with some sort of dynamic warm-up. And because we're going to have some dribbling relays directly after the warm-up, dynamic warm-up in lines is a very simple variation that makes it really easy to transition from the warm-up directly into the first phase of training without too much additional setup. With this, players will perform basic movements like jogging, skipping, high knees, and various other movements to get their body completely warm. Now once this is done, we can move on to the relay, which is our dribbling and passing competition among the teams. You can do tons of different variations of relays, and we have a ton of different relays in the 360 Player as well if you want to do multiple relays in this portion of training. But here's a variation that we've seen Bayern Munich players actually use at their practices a few times, where a player dribbles down around a cone, and as soon as they get back, they play a pass into the goal. And once the ball goes into the goal, that next player in their team can start their run. This goes on until every single player on their team has scored on goal. The first team to complete this with everybody wins that round, and you can do multiple rounds with multiple movements, turns, or different variations, and then add up the points at the end to determine the winning team of this competition. For this, just be sure that if you do have uneven teams, say you have one team with 5 players and one team with 4 players, make sure that the team with 4 players has one player go twice so that each team has performed the same number of legs when doing relay races. After that, we move into a shooting competition, and this is also one that we've seen Bayern Munich use in training, and this is the wall pass shooting drill with a twist because the teams are competing against each other to see how many goals they can score. You're going to need multiple goalkeepers for this and multiple large goals, but if you'd like to use a different shooting drill because you don't have access to more large goals or goalkeepers, there's tons of shooting drills that you can turn into competitions within our app. This one pretty much goes without saying, whichever team scores the most goals wins a round, and again, just like the relay races, you can perform multiple rounds and see which team comes out on top. For the last 30 minutes of training, we're gonna end off with a 6 versus 6 tournament. There's many different ways you can do this. You can take the 2 teams that won the first 2 competitions playing on one field, duking it out for that first place spot while the other 2 teams are fighting for 3rd place, or you can do more of a round robin style of tournament with shorter games where everybody plays everybody and calculate those points in with the 2 exercises that we had before it. 6v6 is a really common size of small-sided games used by a ton of professional teams. We've seen Bayern Munich use it again and again, and also Liverpool is another team that loves 6v6. We touched on this in our Liverpool-inspired training video. Check that out if you have not seen it yet. But the reason why I really love 6v6 is because players can get lots of touches on the ball, but they can still work on some of those basic tactical aspects such as getting wide on offense and in attack, and then on defense, closing down the space and defending as a unit. Depending on your situation and your numbers and your access to large goals and goalkeepers, you can do different variations of 6v6, whether it's with large goals, small goals, and you can adapt it to fit your team specifically. At the end of the training, if you'd like to, you can crown the winning team. I always like to have competitions with my teams and in training. I find that my players really like the competitive aspects of that, but you have to do what's right for your team. You can just do these drills without any sort of competitive aspect if you feel like that's a better fit for your players. So with that being said, guys, that's gonna do it for this training session. We definitely hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see a ton more training sessions, be sure to try out the 360 Player app. We have a free trial period, so you've got nothing to lose. Go ahead and click the link into the description, and somebody from 360 Player will get in touch with you to get you started. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in another video.